Hello internet strangers, let's talk about my issue with Helldivers 2. For those of you who do not know, Helldivers 2 is a live service game where you play in a up to 4-man squad. You get sent down to a planet and you have various objectives to do while trying to survive an endless swarm of either bugs or robots. What makes the game super fun is the fact that you have a bunch of different loadouts. You can call down stratagems from orbit. You can have like eagle strikes come in and you have different weapons, and friendly fire is always on, which can definitely create a bunch of funny scenes. However, I see myself playing the game for about 40 hours and I'm feeling pretty burnt out, which is crazy for a game that's supposed to be live service. So I started asking myself, what's the issue with Helldivers 2? And that's when I came to the realization that Helldivers is missing a little je ne sais quoi. Secret sauce. There's no real reason to keep playing Helldivers 2 once you've gotten what you want to get. Yes, you have like the satisfaction of completing those major orders and moving that progression bar ever so slightly further, but there's no real end game. When you boot up the game, you start on trivial, and then as you play, you gain more difficulties, and the highest difficulty you get is 9, which is Helldiver. You can get to the highest difficulty in a couple of hours. So again, I don't really feel like Helldivers 2 has an endgame, because the difference between Helldivers and trivial is more enemies. Enemies take more damage and do more damage, and there's more on screen. But besides that, the mission objectives don't really change, the planets don't really change. You can collect more samples, yes, but it's essentially the same thing. I know, like, you're like, oh well, that's what live service games do. You play the game and then you get to the end game and then you just repeat with stronger and harder enemies. Yes, but not really. And for this example, I'm gonna go back a while and bring up Anthem, of all things. For all the bad Anthem did, it did some things surprisingly well. One being the endgame. To clarify, the concept of the endgame. The execution was still garbage. However, in Anthem, you had your regular missions that would take you a couple of minutes, and after you beat the game, you had access to these raid missions where it was this massive dungeon that almost felt open world. Each area had a side objective, and then finally when you got to the boss, it took a full team of coordinated mercenaries in their, I can't remember what the suits were called, in their exosuits, taking down this boss that is not seen in any other area of the game or any other mission. That boss was assigned to that particular dungeon. Then you have Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which isn't a live service game, but it does have a pretty spot-on live service model. If they wanted to make the switch to live service, I'm sure they could. You have your basic story, which is roughly, I'd say like 15 hours, maybe a bit more. Then you have your prologue story, where you begin completing Zaga Grande quests in the hopes of reaching the highest difficulty, Proud Mode, where you fight Proto Bahamut, and with the latest update, you now have a raid boss where you fight Lucilius. This boss is completely different from any other boss in the game, has completely different new attacks, different animation, different moveset. It's truly something new and something that the players can build their characters to eventually get to. And then you have Helldivers 2, where mission 1 you fight bugs, and then mission 100 you're still fighting the exact same bugs, except there's more on screen. Your character hasn't gotten any stronger, your weapons haven't necessarily gotten any better. Yes, you might have unlocked a couple of them during the Warbond, but you're essentially playing the same level 1 character, which is okay. I'm okay with having a very squishy character, but I do need some sense of progression for me to want to keep playing the game, because as things stand now, I get in, I do my daily order, I'll help in the major order, and then I get off. So obviously, I'm not just gonna dump on the game and not give any suggestions on how to improve it. So here are my suggestions on how to increase the longevity of Helldivers 2. This is going to be a very big ask, so it's gonna be the first one I bring up. Raids. Have a type of mission where instead of a 4-man squad, you're up to 8 people, and you are just fighting these massive bugs that are only available in this raid. Maybe a mutated version of the Bile Titan or a mutated version of the Charger. Upgradable weapons, because as it stands now, you get a weapon at level 1 and you get the weapon at level 50. it's still the same weapon. Your bullets do the exact same amount of damage, your accuracy does the exact same thing. Give me a reason to keep playing, because eventually I am going to collect everything in the war bond, the stratagems, the upgrades, and at that point I don't really have anything to spend my requisition chips on or my samples on. So having the option to upgrade weapons would be fantastic. I'm not saying that I need to have my bullets one-shot a Bile Titan, but just to have a bullet with maybe faster reload time, or perhaps less recoil, something along those lines, just to give a bit more variety and a little bit more longevity to the game. Unlock color variants of our armors, because our armors are great. However, I mean, the colors are a little bit bland. I get it, it's the military, but with so many Helldivers being shot off into the abyss, why not give us the option to look as stylish as we possibly can? One area where the game is really lacking in as well is your helmet selection. Helmets are purely aesthetic, which is kind of weird since everything in the game has a function besides your cape, obviously. So giving the helmets a attribute bonus would really extend the longevity of the game. I would love to wear maybe a light armor set with a heavy helmet, so that maybe I'm less susceptible to headshots, or I'm less susceptible to being one-shotted by a streaker. And the armors, I don't know how many times I've seen fortification, servo assisted, combat medic, engineer. Like, we need more, we definitely need more armor attributes, because I'm just seeing the same ones over and over again, and like, it's losing its appeal. Like, I don't really even feel the need to go into the war bond and unlock everything, because most of the things can be found in the normal war bond, or every once in a while I can just pick it up in the store. You really need to give us some more armor attributes, because I just see the same ones cycling in, even on the superstore. Like, it's the regular servo assisted, regular fortified. Like, it's not really giving me any incentive to want to keep playing. So yeah, it's a very weird way to end the video, but yeah, right now I feel like the game doesn't really give me incentive to keep playing for like 100 hours, 200 hours, because it is a phenomenal game, great game. However, it is live service. The goal of the game is to have me playing for months and months and months, and as it stands right now, unfortunately, it does not. That's going to be it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think that Helldivers is missing a little oomph to the game? And while you're down there, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Before you head out, let me just say I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, something I literally cannot do without you guys. So if you could help me with that, that would be fantastic. And if you don't want to, well, remember, at the end of the day, I'm just some guy on the internet, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.